Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker will discuss differences in cultural types. Please welcome Brittany Lashley as she presents The Individual and the Collective.
Hello. Hello. Today I'm going to talk to you about the individual and the collective. I will be using individual, individualistic, individualism. To me, in this situation, it's all the same. Have you heard of 个人主义 or 集体主义? Have you heard of this? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. But before, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Brittany. I grew up in Lanzhou, Maryland, which is right next to Washington, D.C. Have you heard of Washington, D.C.? Yeah. It's the capital of the United States, and it is on the East Coast. East Coast. Okay? All right. What does it mean? Individualism. People who are part of the individualistic culture, tend to be stereotyped as more independent and try to do everything by yourself, or to try and do as much as you can by yourself. Opening the door for myself when I walk out of the car, holding my own umbrella, or not holding an umbrella if I don't have one and not offering it to anybody else as well. Self-important. The number one person is myself. I need to make sure that I am taken care of. None of these are bad things. These are just different stereotypes for what it means to be more of an individualistic culture. The nuclear family, which is the mother, the father, however many children they have. The do what's best for you. I already said this, like it's very important to do what is best for yourself. This is this mindset here. They are more assertive and competitive. And we have right here some examples of these kind of cultures in the United States, Australia, South Africa, Germany, and Israel, surprisingly, because Israel is in the Middle East. We have collectivism. This is more community focused. What can I do which will help everyone? What does it be good for everyone? Working with others is more of a codependence. It's more of a accepting help and giving help. They focus on the extended family, which is the mother, the father, however many children, grandparents, uncles, cousins, etc., etc. There's also the do what's best for society, in spite of yourself. So even if it could possibly do some harm to you, that it's more important for the bigger picture. Which would also tie into the word here, selflessness, unity, and the focusing on the we instead of the I. Some cultures here: Japan, Brazil, Korea, Kenya, and India. Okay. Taiwan. Where do you think Taiwan is? Please raise your hand if you think Taiwan is part of the 个人主义. Okay? Please raise your hand if you think that Taiwan is part of the 集体主义. Okay. While speaking with a coworker, she tends to believe that Taiwan is more of the individual on the 个人 side, and that the Aboriginal cultures here tend to be more on the 集体 side. But according to the Hofstede Center in Finland, they believe that Taiwan is more of a collective culture. If you look at this map here, if it's red, it's more individual, and the lighter you get, the more collective it gets. And you see here that Taiwan is very light. Okay? My experience shows me that it does not matter what kind of culture that you're a part of. There's no right or wrong in the situation. There's just difference, and see what works for different people. Also notice that regardless of the kind of culture that you are a part of, for example, the United States is an individualistic culture, but my parents were more collective, and they raised me to be more collective-minded. but there are a lot of different things about me that are more in the individual side. And I'm going to help you out here. That is a question on your worksheet. Okay. Research says that the USA is an individualistic culture, and like I said, it is, but we do have a lot of different groups going on in the United States that tend to be more on the collective side, focusing on the extended family, and still focusing on the collective, like my family did. That does not account for the many people who have collective cultures. Okay, this is, I need your help. I'm not going to ask you to think, I'm just going to ask you to raise your hand, okay? You're going to see a question, and there's going to be an A, and there's going to be a B. If you agree with A, you will raise your hand. If you agree with B, you will raise your hand, okay? If you understand what I'm saying, please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, some of you didn't raise your hand. We're gonna show you how it works. Okay, the trash truck is coming to my house, but I am upstairs in my room. You know that annoying little it's coming down the street, and you're in your room. Okay, let's just say that you're in your bed. Are you going to stay in your room, or are you going to run to take out the trash? If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Okay. If you agree with B, please raise your hand. Okay, all of you are good citizens. Question 1. Okay, now these are the real questions. I just got married. Where should I live? A, far away from my family, or B, close to my family? If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Okay? Far away from your family. Alright? If you agree with B, please raise your hand. Close to your family. Okay, it seems about half and half. Okay? Interestingly enough, in the United States, which is an individualist culture, according to the New York Times article that came out in December, the average American only lives 28 kilometers away from their family. Okay? Do you think, is 28 kilometers far? 28 kilometers far? Is 28 kilometers close? Yeah? Is it far or is it close? It's like, A is far, B is close. A, close? It's far? Oh, you think it's close? It took me about 20 kilometers to get here this morning. It's very close. So the average American is not far away from their family. And the reason why a lot of Americans do move away from their family is very similar to the reasons why the average Taiwanese will move away from their family. And it's for education and for job opportunities. The reasons why anybody would be closer to their family in the United States are, I don't know from experience why it would be for here. It would be for caring for your family or just more of a comfort thing. It's like, this is what I know, and there's no reason for me to leave. Number 2, I want to start a business in my old neighborhood. What is more important, making money or serving the community? If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Okay? If you agree with B, please raise your hand. Okay? For cultures that are more on the individual side, making money is more important. This does not mean that serving the community is not important. It just means that it's not as important. In Taiwan, I frequent a lot of cafes. Taiwan is very similar to, say, like a small town in the United States. Notice here that it doesn't matter which small cafe I go to, they will be very nice to me, and there are places that I've been to at the moment that they open to the moment that they close. And during the entire time I was there, I had a coffee and like bread. And instead of telling me to leave after a while, they will come over and they'll try to talk to me, or they will offer me samples of coffee, or we're baking something, would you like to try it? Whilst in the United States, when I try to do that, if I'm there for too long and I don't make another purchase, they will ask me to leave. Question number 3. My parents are getting very old. What should I do? A, hire someone to take care of them, or B, I will take care of them. If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Hire someone to take care of them. Okay? If you agree with B, please raise your hand. I will take care of them. Okay? There's no right or wrong, don't worry. In the United States, it's more popular, if you can afford it, to hire someone to take care of your older parents. They hire someone who is kind of like the bao for older people. The average person who is taking care of their family themselves tend to be women in their late 40s, early 50s, and they tend to be a minority. In the United States, a minority is a person who is not white. You understand? Okay. In Taiwan, I came across some information that says that Taiwan is slowly moving more towards having someone to take care of their family. And this is because a lot of people are moving away from places like Kaidong to find jobs or education. And the most popular choice are Filipino caregivers, the Filipinos from Southeast Asia. Question 4. When standing next to people, I try to A, stand far away from people, or B, stand close to people. If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Do you try to stand far away from people? If you're in an elevator, do you try to stand far away? Okay. B, stand close to people. Can you try? Okay, there are more people that like to stand close to people here. It's okay. There's no right or wrong. In the United States, for just having a conversation with somebody that you know, maybe not a family member, the average distance is 1.2 meters. It's about 4 feet or so. Okay, so you're talking to somebody, they're right here, and right here, and this is a comfortable distance. I like to say that it is within sniffing range. If I can smell you, then you're standing too close, sort of thing. Okay? So this is something that's very common in individual cultures. When I was living in France, which is neither or, it's more in the middle, people would stand very close to me, regardless of how long we have known each other. I was at McDonald's one day, and a woman came and sat in front of me with her child at my table. At McDonald's, there's like a table, like a small table for one person. This woman sat in front of me with her child and tried to talk to me. And our knees were touching. And I had just met this woman. As an American, part of an individual culture, I was very uncomfortable. Question 5. I won a scholarship to study in England, but my father lost his job, and they need me to stay home and work. What should I do? A, go to England, or B, stay home and work. If you agree with A, please raise your hand. Okay. If you agree with B, please raise your hand. Okay. This question is a little bit more difficult because it's a question of education, whether you should go far away to get an education, to try and make a better situation for your family, or if you're going to stay and get any kind of job that you can to help your family situation now. Okay? There is no right or wrong. It's just in individual cultures, it is more likely for this student to take the scholarship and to move to England. In collective cultures, it is more likely for this student to not take the scholarship, to go home, and to do what they can to help their family in their current situation. Okay. Given the sample size in this room, I have seen that Taiwan is more of a collective culture. But like I said, there is no right or wrong whether individual or collective cultures are better. And no culture is all individual or all collective, especially in the United States, which is a very special case because a lot of the people that we have coming into the country to live tend to be more a part of a collective culture. And they are able to maintain this in spite of very individual values in the United States. Okay? Thank you.